Be prepared. These last 3 days of May aren't what they seem. While the world rushes ahead, forcing decisions, pushing timelines, and clinging to control, the universe is whispering something very different. It's saying, pause, surrender, let go. Have you felt the tension rising beneath the surface? The plans that keep falling through, the ideas that won't quite land, the conversations that feel just a bit off? That's not failure, that's alignment shifting beneath your feet, asking you to stop forcing and start flowing. The cosmic window we're standing in isn't designed for action. It's designed for recalibration. And if you keep pushing, you might just miss the quiet truth that's waiting to emerge. Are you willing to listen? These final days of May aren't just about dates slipping away on a calendar. They're about energy. A quiet shift, a subtle invitation to pause and listen. Because right now, the universe isn't rewarding force. It's rewarding presence. Have you noticed it? That strange resistance in the air, plans that fall apart without explanation, conversations that stall, projects that seem to lose momentum no matter how hard you push. It's not coincidence. It's not you failing. It's the universe redirecting your flow. These last 3 days aren't here for forward motion. They're here for realignment, for stepping back, for observing, for noticing what's surfacing from beneath the noise. Because in this window, what feels like chaos is actually clarity emerging. But only if you're willing to stop forcing and start feeling. Have you caught yourself pushing harder, trying to make things happen just because you feel like you should? That's the old energy. The pattern of control and urgency that no longer fits where you're heading. The cosmic field is asking you to trust the pause, to recognize that slowing down isn't losing momentum. It's allowing a new path to reveal itself. This is the cosmic invitation to breathe, to soften, to step out of the mind's race and into the body's wisdom. Because in this pause, you'll find the answers you've been chasing, not through effort, but through presence. Ask yourself, what am I forcing right now that feels heavy, strained, or misaligned? What would it feel like to let go, even just for a moment, and trust that clarity will emerge on its own? This isn't about abandoning your dreams or giving up on your goals. It's about recognizing that not every phase is about action. Some phases are about integration, about letting the shifts that have been building finally settle into your system. Have you felt the pull to slow down, to retreat, to listen? That's your soul syncing with the cosmic rhythm, aligning with the quiet power of these days. The universe is saying, wait, feel, align. Because what's coming next isn't born from force. It's born from clarity. The kind that only comes when you give yourself permission to stop pushing. This isn't a test. It's a gift. A rare moment where the universe offers you the space to breathe, to recalibrate, to remember that you are not here to force life into submission. You are here to align with it, to let the flow guide you into the next phase, with grace, with ease, with deep knowing. So as these final days of May unfold, ask yourself one last time, am I willing to stop forcing and trust the flow, even if I don't yet know where it's leading? Because the truth is, the answers are already here, waiting in the stillness, waiting in the breath, waiting for you to pause long enough to hear them. Why pushing harder won't work now? You've probably felt it. That inner pressure to push harder, to hustle, to make things happen before the month ends. But every time you try to force it, something pushes back. The meeting falls through, the motivation evaporates, the clarity disappears. Why? Because the universe isn't designed to respond to force right now. Have you noticed how the more you push, the more resistance you encounter? That isn't failure, it's a signal, a quiet cosmic reminder that forcing things during this energetic window won't bring the results you're hoping for. The truth is, these final days of May are a liminal space, a cosmic pause where energy is resetting, aligning, recalibrating. And when you try to force outcomes during a reset, it's like swimming upstream, exhausting, frustrating, and ultimately fruitless. Have you been telling yourself, I just need to push a little harder, or if I don't make this happen now, I'll fall behind? That's the old paradigm speaking, the voice of urgency and fear, not of trust and alignment. The universe isn't closing doors to punish you. It's closing them to redirect you, to guide you into flow, into surrender, into the deep knowing that what's meant for you can't be forced. Ask yourself, where am I trying to force clarity, control outcomes, or hold on to something that's naturally slipping away? What would it feel like to release the grip, to soften, to trust the unfolding? This isn't about giving up. It's about recognizing that real progress often looks like stillness, that the most powerful shifts happen when we stop fighting the current and start allowing it to carry us forward. The mind tells you to keep moving, to fix, to force. But the soul whispers, be still, trust, breathe. And when you listen, you'll feel the difference. You'll notice the tension in your body soften, the tightness in your mind loosen, the heaviness in your heart lighten. This phase isn't for action. It's for alignment, for tuning into the deeper currents beneath the surface, for recognizing that what you're trying to push into existence might not be aligned with the version of you that's emerging. Have you caught yourself saying, why isn't this working? Why do I feel stuck? That's the invitation. Not to push harder, but to pause. To recognize that the universe isn't blocking you. It's asking you to step aside so something new can come through. The more you resist, the more tangled things will feel. The more you surrender, the clearer the path becomes. So, as these final days of May unfold, try this. When you feel the urge to force, pause. When you catch yourself trying to control, breathe. When you feel stuck, ask yourself, what am I resisting? Because the truth is, the flow is already here, waiting for you to step into it, not with force, but with trust, not with urgency, but with presence. This isn't just about letting go. It's about remembering that you are already aligned with the energy of what you seek, if you stop long enough to feel it. So ask yourself one more time, am I willing to stop forcing and start flowing, even if it feels uncomfortable? Because in that discomfort lies the doorway to clarity, alignment, and the next phase of your journey. Sometimes, the signs that we're out of flow are so subtle, we almost miss them. A tangle of thoughts that keep circling back to the same worries. A heaviness in the chest, or a tightness in the jaw that you barely register. A quiet frustration when things just won't go as planned, no matter how hard you try. Have you been feeling that lately? That nagging sense that something's off, even if you can't quite explain why, that's not random. That's the universe gently, persistently nudging you to notice the misalignment. When you're out of flow, everything feels like a struggle. Tasks that usually feel effortless become uphill battles. Conversations stall, plans unravel, ideas that once sparked excitement now feel flat and forced. And no matter how much effort you pour in, the results feel hollow. Have you noticed how, when you force things, the tension builds, not just in your mind, but in your body? How your sleep is disrupted, your focus fragmented, your mood unpredictable? That's your energy field trying to tell you you're pushing against the current. The universe communicates through resistance, not as punishment, but as guidance. When things don't flow, it's not always because you're doing something wrong. It's because you're being invited to do something different, to soften, to listen, to realign. Ask yourself, where am I feeling resistance right now? And what might that resistance be teaching me? What small shift could I make to step back into flow, even if it's just for today? These signs aren't failures. They're invitations. They're reminders that forcing doesn't create alignment. It creates friction. And the more you ignore the signs, the louder they'll become. Until you're faced with a choice. Keep pushing or finally surrender. Have you felt the universe whispering through delays, distractions, and disruptions? That's the invitation to slow down, to pay attention to the patterns you've been too busy to notice, to let go of the need for control and trust that the path will reveal itself when you stop forcing it to appear. You might notice it in the little things. A text you meant to send but forgot. A project that feels stuck no matter how much effort you put in. A conversation that drifts away without resolution. These are the breadcrumbs the universe is leaving for you, leading you back to flow. The question is, will you follow them? Will you listen to the quiet voice that says, pause, breathe, realign? Or will you keep forcing forward, only to find yourself more tangled than before? This is a sacred moment, a chance to recognize that flow isn't something you create, it's something you allow. It's the natural state of being when you're aligned with your truth, your purpose, your soul's rhythm, and it's waiting for you to return. So as the signs appear in your body, your mind, your relationships, don't dismiss them. Don't brush them off as distractions or failures. See them for what they are. Cosmic signals pointing the way back to ease, clarity, and alignment. Ask yourself one more time, am I willing to listen to the signs, even if they're telling me something I don't want to hear? Because in that listening lies the doorway to the next phase of your journey. One where flow isn't something you chase, it's something you embody. Surrender? For so many of us, that word feels like failure, like giving up, like admitting we're not strong enough, focused enough, determined enough. But here's the truth most people never tell you. Surrender isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Have you noticed how trying to force things lately has only made them harder? The more you push, the more resistance you encounter. The more you insist on moving forward, the more the universe seems to hold you back. That's not punishment, it's realignment. Have you been feeling exhausted, scattered, emotionally raw? That's your system's way of telling you, you're doing too much. It's time to let go. But surrender doesn't mean sitting back and waiting for life to happen. It means releasing control over what you can't change. and focusing your energy on what you can. It means breathing deeply into the discomfort rather than trying to escape it. It means acknowledging your limits, not as flaws, but as signposts, pointing you toward a better way. Ask yourself, where am I still trying to force something that isn't flowing? What small act of surrender could I practice today, even if it's just a deep breath, a moment of stillness, or a decision to step back? Surrender is an act of courage. It's choosing to trust the process, even when you can't see the outcome. It's recognizing that sometimes the universe's timing is wiser than your own. And it's in that space of surrender that the magic happens, where clarity emerges, where the next step becomes obvious, where alignment takes root. Have you felt the tension of holding on too tightly to something, an idea, a plan, a person that no longer feels right? That's not just emotional, it's energetic. Your soul is asking you to release, to soften, to make space for what's trying to come through. Here's the secret. When you surrender, you don't lose momentum. You shift it from a frantic, scattered push to a steady, aligned flow. You stop wasting energy on forcing and start channeling it into listening, noticing, allowing. Imagine a river. When you push against the current, you exhaust yourself. But when you let the current carry you, you move faster, smoother, more efficiently, with less effort and more grace. That's surrender. So as these final days of May unfold, try this. Take a few moments each day to sit in stillness. Breathe deeply, feeling the rise and fall of your breath. Notice the areas of tension in your body and consciously release them. When you catch yourself forcing, pause and ask, is this in flow or am I pushing? The answers will come, not as loud revelations, but as gentle nudges, as a sense of peace, a release of tension, a quiet knowing that you're on the right track, not because you're forcing it, but because you're allowing it. Ask yourself one last time, am I willing to trust the surrender, to let the universe carry me, even if I don't know where it's taking me? Because the moment you say yes to surrender, you say yes to flow. And in that flow, momentum isn't lost. It's transformed into something deeper, truer, more aligned with your soul's path. As the last moments of May unfold, a quiet but powerful energy is weaving through the fabric of your life. This isn't the loud energy of action or the dramatic wave of change. It's the subtle but potent force of final alignment, a recalibration of your intentions, your energy, and your soul's path before you step into June. Have you felt the pull lately? A nudge to revisit something you thought was settled, a gentle prompting to reflect on what's truly in alignment with you? That's not indecision. That's the universe offering you one last chance to adjust your course, to clear out the remnants of old stories and patterns that can't come with you into this next chapter. This is the time to be honest with yourself. To ask, what feels heavy, outdated, or misaligned in my life right now? What truth have I been avoiding, and what would it feel like to face it with openness and courage? These aren't questions designed to make you spiral into doubt or regret. They're invitations. They're signposts pointing toward the next layer of clarity that's waiting for you, but only if you're willing to pause, reflect, and listen. Have you noticed how certain relationships, plans, or goals feel less compelling than they did even a few weeks ago? That's not you giving up. That's your energy evolving. It's your soul quietly saying, "This isn't mine anymore," and making space for something truer to step in. These final days of May aren't about forcing answers. They're about allowing clarity to rise from the stillness. They're about trusting that as you let go of what no longer fits, what's meant for you will find its way in. So, what can you do to honor this final alignment? Spend time in stillness. Let your thoughts settle. Revisit your intentions and notice if they still resonate. Be willing to release a thought, a habit, a story you've been telling yourself for too long. This isn't about making a grand gesture or setting lofty goals for June. It's about subtle shifts, gentle adjustments, small but profound choices that align you more fully with who you're becoming. Ask yourself, what small but meaningful shift am I ready to make before June begins? What truth am I finally ready to embody, even if it feels uncomfortable at first? And remember, you're not behind, you're not late, you're not missing anything. You're exactly where you need to be. The universe isn't asking you for perfection. It's asking for presence, for willingness, for a quiet yes to the next phase of your journey. This final alignment isn't a test you need to pass. It's a doorway you're being invited to step through, not with force or fear, but with trust and openness. Because what awaits you on the other side isn't just a new month. It's a new frequency, a new chapter, a new level of alignment with your soul's truth. So as the last days of May slip into June, ask yourself one last time, am I willing to let go of what's old and trust the quiet space that follows? Am I willing to step into the unknown, not with certainty, but with presence and faith? Because the real magic isn't in knowing what's coming next. It's in trusting that whatever comes, you'll meet it with the clarity and strength of someone who chose alignment over force, flow over control, and truth over comfort. This is your invitation. The portal is open. Will you walk through?